Hello everyone and welcome to the Huts Gaming F1 2021 League. I'm your commentator and host, Oscar. I'm new to this. First race with the Huts Gaming League and I couldn't be more excited. The tension here at Imola is palpable. We had a very intense qualifying session just a few moments, or a practice session just a few moments ago. The gap between the drivers, you could barely fit a piece of paper through it. We have 32 laps of Imola coming up with a short qualifying session first. Now the fight in practice was between Surti in the Alfa Romeo. It was between Surti in the Alfa Romeo. I'm trying to find them. Isti in the McLaren and in the Aston Martin. Surti, I've already said Surti, no. ARX Biscuit in the Ferrari, sorry. There we go. Those are the three drivers to look out for based on practice in this qualifying session. Now, judging by the pole times from F1 2021 in real life, Lewis Hamilton secured pole with a 1:14.4, if I remember correctly. I'll double check my F1 knowledge here, but I do believe it was a 1:14.4, and the drivers were already at 1:14.4s. Yes, a 1:14.4.11 for Lewis Hamilton in 2021 at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix at Imola. 1:14.4.11. That was beaten in practice. Let's see what we can do in qualifying. Can the drivers make an impression? How far up the grid can they get? There's a few more drivers joining since practice, so this could get interesting. There were at least three fighting for the very top positions, and we didn't see everything of people like our reigning champion, Pookie, who stayed on the hard compound tyre. Is he hiding something in his pocket? We'll have to wait and see as we come towards the qualifying session. "20 drivers, 30 seconds to qualifying. Short session, decide who's on pole, and then it's a 32-lap race for glory." The tension really is building. It's electric in the proverbial commentary booth. Let's see what happens. We had a few incidents over qualifying, some spins, some collisions with the barrier, some trouble at different corners. I'll try my best to keep up to date with the corner names, but there's a few that might catch me out. Corner numbers, not so much. Corner names, I'm a fan. Now, of course, at Imola, you have the famous turns like Acqua Minerale, Ravazza, Variante Alta, Tosa, the Villeneuve chicane. It really is an icon of a track. It's perhaps not the best for racing, probably not the best for overtaking, but as a spectacle, it really is something. Now, as we come into the pit lane, we see drivers waiting to get out for their flying laps. They have 17 minutes and 48 seconds to set the best time they possibly can. What can they do? What impact can they do? I have the tyres up there now. We'll put telemetry on every now and then. We'll definitely have lap data on so we can keep up to date with what the drivers are setting. As we have the first drivers out of the pit lane, and it's the two Ferrari boys of J05GR and ARX Biscuit, one of the front runners from today's practice session. Can he make an impact in qualifying, as he was pipped just about by a few tenths of a second to first in our practice session? We'll ride on board with J0 as he was the first out of the pits. Let's see what they can do. Let's see what the drivers can do. Very competitive in this field today. Not much to separate the drivers. I'm expecting big things from these guys. Hopefully, we keep our noses clean. Hopefully, the session goes undisturbed. But this is Formula One, and anything can happen, and it probably will. As he goes through, coming up to Acqua Minerale, my favourite corner personally. Up through there. There we go. Can't take much from this out lap, but we're about to get our first flying lap as he comes down to Sector 3. Flashing over the curbs. The Variante Alta up to Ravazza, the penultimate and final corner. Final real corner, I should say. These modern F1 cars. Up into Ravazza. And it's a short dash to the line, and we'll get underway for this first qualifying session at Imola for the Huts Gaming Formula 1 2021 League. DRS Open for J05GR. What can he do in Tamburello? As he dives down, DRS slams shut, slams on the brakes, over the curbs, doesn't take too much of the sausage curb. How is he on the exit? Bit tentative. Not too much on the corner exit. A little bit hesitant, you might say, as drivers earlier were really maximizing track limits. Dives through into Tosa. Here we go. Let's see. Again, a little bit tentative on corner exit, you might say. Some drivers are going right the way out to the white line, some of them even beyond it. As we come through up towards Acqua Minerale now. This is where lots of drivers came undone here. Can he keep it clean? Just about keeps it in the white line. That was really fine. It's looking like a good lap. It's been beaten though already. His Sector 2 time. Or so it looks. His teammate from behind might be getting the benefit of the draft, but also the dirty air in the corners. Up towards Ravazza. The lap's almost over here. And it's a short dash to the line. Not too much corner on it. Not too much exit curb. Keep it tight to the barrier. And we've got a 1:16.1. Immediately beaten by ARX Biscuit with a 1:15.5. ARX Biscuit was one to watch over the practice session earlier. As we watch next, who else can make an impression? Who can make an impression now? As HGL Big Liam slots it in between them with a 1:16.0 in between the Ferrari boys. 1:16.7, 1:15.7. The times are flying in now as we watch Big Six dive to the line. 1:15.9, P3 for Big Six and the Mercedes. And the Mercedes behind him, what can he do? Sherlock with a 16.6, P7. As we've got the McLaren coming up now to start a flying lap. God, the excitement already is really something. We've got HGL 30 coming to the pits. Big Vic starting his first flying lap. See Jabba the Black slot it into 1:16.7. P9. Haas is just starting a flying lap now, the Haas of Shankster. Our reigning champion Pookie as HGL Goshan goes faster with a 1:14.7. Almost a second quicker than ARX Biscuit, 2/10 off. 2/10 the difference at the top at the moment, but that is a stormer of a lap. Now, who have we got on a flying lap at the moment? Oh, a bit of a car park for the Alfa Romeos at the moment. So you watch Groffel now, one of the drivers that had so much potential in practice, so I was hoping to see more of him. A few mistakes came undone, but he was keeping touch with the lead pack. Let's see if he can make an impression in this qualifying session. As he comes through the Variante Alta, diving towards Ravazza with the penultimate and final corner of the lap. Oh, he's not going to be making an impression on this lap. We'll stick with him for the next one, because this could be an upset here. Groffel was just a bit behind in the previous session. Let's see if he can make an impression on this lap now. We're right on board with HGL Groffer. Coming up towards Tamburello, turn 1 and 2. Slamming on the brakes. Bit of sausage curb. Slight bit of understeer on exit there. Not maximising the track limits either. Let's see how he goes into Villeneuve chicane. Little bit tentative on turn-in. This might not be a great lap. He's 800th off already off his previous lap. Let's see how he goes through the rest of it. This might not be as the stormer that we want from Groffel here. Nice bit of exit curve, but again, still not maximising it like the others have been. Up into Acqua Minerale. He had a few moments earlier in practice. Keeps it nice and clean. Again, a little bit tentative on exit. As we'll see their confidence grow as the session goes on. Clatters the curves over the Variante Alta. Bit of network lag there. Up towards Ravazza. We'll see where this puts him. This could be a decent lap. I'm not expecting an improvement, or at least not a huge improvement on his previous one. But a few moments of understeer, a few moments of just hesitation. Again, see, not too much curb taken on the exit. Keep it tight to the barrier. And it is P4, so disregard everything I said, because that was a pretty decent lap from HGL Groffer. As we have a look to see, most people are on an out lap now. We have Groffel, who's of course just finished his lap, so it'll be a recharge or an in lap now. Hotspig Vic might have just been impeded a little bit by the Alpine behind, I believe, of Groffel, sorry. I'm not sure if this will be much of a lap. No, 2 seconds off. This must be either a big impede, so a lift off. Yeah, he's not gunning it anymore. FICO and the Red Bull again, too close for comfort with the Williams. Oh, and that's unsporting there from FICO. If that was on purpose, that wasn't great there. Not sure if anything will be done about that, but that did look a bit like a swerve to me. Now, the Williams did get in the way, in all fairness. It did impede the lap, you could argue. But we don't like to see that in our qualifying sessions. Sporting drivers here. And we've had an off for Plaul. That's just coming towards Tosa there. He's managed to keep out the barriers. He's managed to get it round. We love to see that. But will he come on track and impede anyone? AlphaTauri's coming by now. Ferrari just behind. He might get in the way of the Ferrari a little bit there. Just gets out the way. Phew. As FICO puts in a 1:26 with that moment with the Williams. Clearly holding back his qualifying performance there. We'll see if he can make an impression on this lap. A couple drivers on the medium tyre. Interesting choice. Perhaps they just wanted to start the race on the medium. Go with a different strategy. Isti, one of our front runners from earlier today in the practice session, is on the medium tyre, so he shouldn't have to worry about track position. Pookie, however, didn't seem to do too well. He's got a purple first sector with FICO, but Pookie didn't seem to do too well on the hard compounded tyres, about 4 seconds off the lead time. We'll see what he can do on the medium tyre, whether or not he can make an impression here and get us off the grid and have the, arguably preferable strategies. Oh, FICO with the McLaren. This man is getting terrible luck with this traffic today. But he's got the fastest first sector, or what was the fastest first sector. It might have been beaten now. We'll see what he can do. This looks like a good lap from FICO here. The McLaren maybe got just a little bit in the way. Might argue. Oh, a big snap out of the exit of Ravazza. He keeps it together, though, coming towards the line with a 1:14.8. Very good lap from CRS FICO. Very good lap indeed. That was arguably good enough for provisional pole had he not had the moment with the McLaren or the massive oversteer on exit from the Ravazza. Anyways, Pookie's still in the pits. Nothing to do yet. Nothing to talk about with him. Our reigning champion taking it arguably a little cautious, but do want to see what he can do on a faster tyre. Because the hard compound, he really did fail to make an impression. We watch Shankster in the Hash. Get this at a time. Let's see what he can do. Coming through the Villeneuve chicane now. Up into Tosa. Going up through to Piratella now. 2 McLarens up ahead. They could be tripping over one another. Might get in his way even. As we got a new fastest time for HGL 30. I told you it'd be one to watch. 1:14.6. Good time. Beaten by just under a tenth to Goshan. So it's very tight up at the front. I'm expecting that to get even tighter once ARX Biscuit gets up to speed. Once Isti gets up to speed. Although with the medium tyre, he might fail to get up at the front. But we'll see if he can pull something out of the bag, because his times earlier really were electric. As Shankster backs out of the lap. A 1:18 for his teammate. Not the best lap we're seeing from the Haas guys, though. He is on the medium tyre. Got to take that into account. It looks like he's going for another fast lap. Of course, the medium tyre, good enough for a couple runs, it seems. So we'll see what he can do with this tyre. He can beat his previous best. Fresh set. Comes through into Ravazza for the penultimate and final corner of the lap. Not quite maximizing exit speed. Oh, really not maximizing the exit curb there. Dives into the pits, backs out of the lap. Wouldn't have been too good. Maybe a lower 118. It might have been a slight improvement. So perhaps worth continuing on for. As Pookie starts his out lap, that's right on board with the reigning champion as he starts his first flying lap. Knocks out the bollard there. Interesting. Keeping it tight to the barriers here. Minimizing the distance traveled as much as possible. Oh, CRS Figo coming out the pits, just gets out of the way before the first corner. A little bit of a lock up there. You can hear the tyres squealing. Misses the apex in the middle. Just a little bit. Might not compromise him too much, but we'll see what he can do now. Into the Villeneuve chicane. As HDL Goshan puts in a faster time than Surti by almost 3/10 of a second. A few little lockups here for the reigning world champion Pookie. World champion, so, well, I suppose he's the world champion, the reigning champion, Pookie. A few lockups, maybe just dialing in now. Coming into Aqua Minerale, let's see how he takes this. Some drivers have come undone here. Taken nicely, doesn't go too wide to invalidate his lap time there. And in through Variante Alta, classes over the curves, maybe not the best way, and no, it's not. He's had his lap time invalidated, unfortunately. So we'll have to wait a little bit longer for our reigning champion to set a representative lap time. Regardless, up at the front, we've got Goshan and Surti battling it out. CRS Fico is there, the 1:14.8, on his out lap now. Can he dethrone HGL Goshan? Let's see, let's ride on board with Fico now. Comes up towards Tamburello, turn 1 and 2, braking now. DRS slams shut, doesn't touch the sausage curbs. Don't particularly want to, they're pretty evil. Doesn't go too wide on exit, whether by choice or by not having the speed for that. Here we go into Villeneuve chicane. Maximizing curb use on the exit. Lock up there, you can hear the tyres squealing away. This might not be a very clean lap. It could be a fast one. We're not sure yet. Let's have a look. Comes in through there. Up towards Aqua Minerale now. Taken nicely. Not invalidating the lap time there. 300ths off now. Can you make up the time? Sector 3. Let's find out. Let's have a look. 3/100ths off. Needs to make up a couple tenths here to have a shot at the top, the second spot. Only 2 tenths between him and Surti at the moment. Through Ravatsa maximizes exit curb massively. That was a very, very close one. Keep it tight to the barrier now, and he puts it in second. He finds those extra tenths and goes second with a 1:14.5 for CRS Fico. 1:14.6 though for Surti behind him. And Goshan up in front still with a 1:14.3. Quicker than the real-life pole time by Lewis Hamilton in 2021. A 1:14.4 for Lewis Hamilton, a 1:14.3 for Goshan. Get him in the Mercedes, I say. Let's have a look for someone who hasn't set a lap time yet. If Shanks is on a fast one, looks like he might be. If he's on a fast one, let's see what he can do. If he can make an impression up at the front, he's going to keep it tight to the barriers. Looking like a semi-decent lap time there, up to P14. Nice lap from the Haas. As we see Huts Big Vic, 500ths up at the moment through sector 1. Coming up through, there we go. Nice on exit, maybe a little tentative. Up into Aqua Minerale here. Catching Quack now. Oh, and a spin. Spin for Huts Big Vic. That came undone. It was looking good. He was almost a 10th up. And another spin in the background there for a Lord. So just spinning in sympathy there for his comrade there. So not obviously that lap won't be counting for much. He's already 14 seconds down. Jabba goes into the pits there. Watch HGL Quack, who just had that... teammate just had that moment there at Aqua Minerale. I told you that's where a lot of drivers have been coming undone at Aqua Minerale. It's a tricky corner, that. Very tricky corner. So you see some yellow flags out. It looks like it's more for people getting out the way to be lapped, which we like to see. We like to see people respecting blue flags. HGL Quack tries to make an impression. Maybe a moment there for the Williams. That was a close one there for Quack. Comes up through towards Aqua Minerale now. Through Piratella. Let's see if he has the same mistake his teammate did. Can he keep it together? Just about keeps it together. Not the best we've seen through Aqua Minerale today, but not bad at all. Could be worse. He could be facing the wrong way. Clatters over the curbs. Not very conservative with his curb usage through Variante Alta. But a lot of drivers really attack those curbs. Not afraid of anything through there, but Quack seems to be a little more conservative with his curb usage. As you can see, not riding out too wide on exit. How does he do through the last corner? Oh! Just as I say that, he rides out too wide on exit and gets his lap invalidated. Would have been a 1:15.9. That would have been 8/10 quicker than his previous lap. It was so close to glory there. 1:15.9 would have put him up a few positions. Competitive lap times from Quack, but he just hasn't kept it together yet. Let's see if he carries on now or if he goes in for a back-off lap. Doesn't seem to have backed off here yet. Looking pretty quick through Villeneuve. Towards Tosa now. Doesn't seem to be back. Oh, he must have backed off there. The exit curb usage wasn't what you'd expect from a fast lap. Either that or he really is being conservative. As we come to the end of our session, so FICO will not be challenging for P1. FICO will be at best P2. Can Surtees? Oh, Surtees in the pits. Surtees will not be challenging for P1, so it's Goshan versus the world here. Can ARX Biscuit, the driver who impressed us so much, he's taken off the mediums. Can he make an impression here as he comes through? And he dives into the pit lane. No! Goshan is looking good for pole position here. ARX Biscuit, perhaps one of our favourite. Isti pips him to pole position. Oh my word, look at that. By the merest fractions, Isti in the McLaren goes ahead of his teammate in P2. In the dying stages here, as Goshan has another go. Can he change that? He can! My word, what a dramatic end to this qualifying session. He goes faster than his teammate, just pipping him to pole position. It looks like it might all be over unless Plul can do anything about those top times. No, he can't. His lap's been invalidated. So there is your grid. HGL Goshan in P1. We'll have a look at the lap of the gaps to the leader. 2/10 behind to his teammate. Further 2/10 to FICO. And the merest fractions to Surtees, who may have exited that qualifying session a little bit early. He could have challenged for the P1 there. And Pookie, unfortunately, didn't get a lap time in at all. Our reigning champion this session really has come undone. What a dramatic qualifying session. As Daz the Man seems to have retired from the session. But what a session to kick off this round with. Super tight margins up at the front. There's nothing between those drivers. HGL Goshan, the McLaren driver, with a 1:14.1, basically. That was a hell of a lap, to put it politely. His teammate just behind, 2/10. He might be reeling from that. It was so close. It was looking like he was going to take pole position. But Goshan came back round the final corner moments after announcing him as pole position and snatched it straight from his teammate's nose. It was... wow. I'm very impressed already. Of course, the big surprise may be Pookie, our reigning champion in P20. What can he do from the back of the grid? Again, Imola may not be the best track for outright racing. The track's quite tight. It's not very wide for overtaking maneuvers. But if you're brave, you can send one down the inside, send one around the outside at somewhere like Tosa, Piratella, Tamburello, probably the favoured overtaking spot. Down the back straight with DRS. Variante Alta might be a bit of a tight squeeze there. Villeneuve chicane, again, a bit too quick to make a real move. But we'll see what these drivers can do. 25 seconds to the start of this race. And it could go any way. It could go any way here. I have no idea how this might go. Strategy could really, or almost certainly will come into play here. In the drivers at the front, there really is nothing between them. You could fit a sheet of paper between that gap. I mean, it's... Yeah, we'll see what happens now. We'll see what happens as we go to the grid for the start of this race. Formation lap first. So here we are, Imola on the formation lap. Goshan leads them away. What can he do from pole position? He had a pretty storming pace there, but can he keep it up? Picked a pit stop strategy, lap 11 and 12 onto the hard compound of tyre. So looking to be a one-stop if you want to use the hards, or a two-stop for the mediums. What can they do with that? Can they drag out the medium tyre a little longer to avoid using that hard and losing all the grip that comes with that? Turn on full track map. Turn on the tyre details. So we've got Pookie disqualified from the session. Big shocker, huge shocker there. Our reigning champion disqualified from the session. Didn't get off the grid. Heartbreak for our reigning champion. I mean, really and truly not what you want to be seeing in this round. Nevertheless, P20, there was something going on in qualifying, whether it be network issues or game issues or any sort of issues. Must have been something going on in qualifying because he didn't set a single time. Yeah, and Pookie's left the session. What a shame. Regardless, we've got Goshan in the lead with Isti chasing behind them. Fico chomping at the bit to get ahead. What can these drivers do? As Pookie's stationary car sits there on the grid. As Big Liam is disqualified from the session. Groffle disqualified from the session. What on earth is going on? What on earth is happening? Already drama at Imola and the race hasn't even started. We've got 3 disqualifications. P9, P12 and P20. For Big Liam, Groffle and Pookie. Anyways, the green flag is waved and the lights are coming on imminently. Let's see what they can do. 5 lights are on ahead of the drivers. And we're underway at Imola. Held for quite a while there. What can the drivers do? Let's watch at the front, because this will be where the real battle is. It looks like Goshan gets away well. Can he cover off from his teammate? Maybe diving down the inside? No, he thinks better of it. As Surti is having a massive scrap with Fico there, side by side, through Tamburello. As the Ferrari of ARX Biscuit gets in on the action. Surti dives away as Biscuit gets in. Oh, and contact there, and Fico is spun round. It's chaos already on lap 1. Fico drops down the order all the way to P19. Heartbreak for the man who looks so good to start high up the grid and get a good result here. What a shame. As HGL Surti continues on in P3, ARX Biscuit chasing behind him. Nothing between these two. 5/10 the gap up front, diminishing all the time as the slipstream is used down the straight. A few drivers having a look. Another issue back for the Haas, and he's broken his front wing. Klasnik's broken his front wing as Shankster comes through. Maybe another issue for the second Haas car. Nevertheless, nothing's changing up front so far. Everything seems to be calm for Goshan at the moment as he puts in a 1:19.6, first lap of the Grand Prix. As at the back we see the Ferrari and the Mercedes having a right old scrap. J05GR against Sherlock in the Mercedes, putting him under real relentless pressure here. Can he capitalise on that at all? Following down into the Villeneuve chicane. Very brave to make a move through there. He thinks better of it, probably for the best. It's quite far back and it's not really where you want to stick your nose in. Regardless, the gap up front still less than a second between the drivers down to Sherlock. This is looking to be, as we've got 4 drivers in the pits here, Fico, Pookie, Shankster and Klasnik. Pitting for damage, you must say. As Klasnik puts on the hard tyres, Shankster the mediums, Pookie the mediums, FICO the medium, so they will be stopping again. Of course, it's only the first lap of the Grand Prix. Strange scenes in the first lap. As you watch, Isti and Goshan, the gap now 1 second, but he's lost a lot of time to Surtees behind. Perhaps a mistake from Isti in the McLaren, as HGL Surtees is right up his gearbox. Down the back straight they come. Can he make good on that slipstream? Can he make good on the slipstream and make an impression here? HGL Surtees, one of our better drivers in qualifying. But Isti, also one of the better drivers. 4 drivers who were looking best in quali, out front still. Apart from FICO, he's not looking too good at the minute. Big mistake in lap 1 for him, unfortunately. So drivers seem to be setting into a rhythm here. 7 tenths of gap to Goshan for Isti, which is diminishing from what I saw last lap, which was over a second. So he is gaining time on his McLaren teammate here. Can he make that big of an impression yet? But HGL Surtees is putting him under real pressure here. The gap is barely above 2 tenths. Having to cover off the inside, perhaps. Maybe he's just a little bit worried about what Surtees might do into any corner. Really, any big braking zone, you want to be looking in your mirrors, making sure that Aston Martin isn't diving down the inside of you, rolling around the outside. He's right to be cautious here, because any small mistake and Surtees will be all over him. Nice and wide on exit. Watch him come down the back straight. Now, can Surtees, as a fast lap of the Grand Prix goes to HGL Surtees. Dives to the inside. DRS wide open for both of them. Can he dive around the inside? Oh, he cuts him off. He's been cut off by Isti. Surtees has to wait another day. They both live through the first corner, but can they make an impression down the straight? Doesn't look like it. Villeneuve is a very, very ballsy place to make a move. And of course, he thinks better of it, as Isti sets a purple sector 3, but it looks like Surtees might have pipped him to that straight away. Well, ARX Biscuits, these 3, I'm telling you, these 3 are really glued to one another. There's nothing between them here. The CRS FICO puts in the fastest lap by quite a significant margin here. Sector 2, the yellow flag. One of the Haas cars has stopped at Acqua Minerale, and he's been disqualified from the session. What a shame. Oh, big, very wide there for HGL Surtees. He sticks with Isti, sticks with him, not losing too much time. As behind, we've got a William, or a Red Bull, I'm sorry. All the blue cars is really confusing. HGL Plul having a moment at Acqua Minerale. This seems to be where all the drivers are being unraveled. We've had a few moments at Acqua Minerale in the practice and in the race. As someone leaves, Z0T leaves the session. Still no change for the lead. Goshan in the lead, a little bit deep into that corner there. Might give Isti a sniff of a chance here. Thinks better of it into Villeneuve, probably for the best now. Yeah, these 3 are really reeling one another in here. We've got a gap of 3 tenths, 2 tenths, 5 tenths, and 4 seconds back to Sherlock. We've got a move there from the Alfa Romeo. Oh, lots of carnage here. That would be Z0T, who left the session just getting swarmed by everyone. Nonetheless, back on board with HGL Goshan. What can be done here? They're not letting him get away. It looked like he was pulling away a pretty decent lead at the very start of this race. It's about a 1.2 second gap, but it immediately diminished to almost nothing now. It's 4 tenths, 2 tenths back at Surtees, 5 tenths back for ARX Biscuit. DRS will be wide open once again, but I think Isti might be too far back to make an impression here. Though it's possible he could have a sniff down the inside or down the outside. And yeah, side by side now. Isti changed for the lead. Can he keep it in? No, he can't. He has to cover off from Surtees. Think better of it. Don't make too many silly mistakes this early in the race. There's plenty of time. It's looking likely there that there was going to be a change for the lead. And briefly it was. Side by side down into turn 1. It's Big Six and Dazzler Man battle. The AlphaTauri and the Mercedes. Bit of a mistake for Big Six there. To go side by side there. Oh, through Villeneuve. You don't want to be doing it through there. come towards Tosa. I think the AlphaTauri might be a little too far back now to make a move. Oh, and he's been spun out. Spun out for the AlphaTauri of Daz the Man. What a shame. It was shaping up to be quite the battle there between him and Big Six in the Mercedes. We've had lots of carnage here. I told you that Imola's quite a tight, twisty track. It might be a difficult one to make real ground on if you're starting far back. Big Liam has been given a 3-second time penalty. I'm assuming that'll be for track limits there. It's just so easy to just go a little too wide on each curb here. Just go over the white line and, you know, ruin your lap, ruin your race, even if you get a penalty. So 3-second time penalty for Big Liam. Down in P13. This is the true fight. Here we go. Round 2 for Isti and Goshan. Round the outside. Oh my word. What a move into Tamburello. Goshan maintains the lead for another lap. And this gives Surtees a sniff up into Isti. And then, no, he thinks better of it into Villeneuve. Again, these drivers are just not going for it into the Villeneuve chicane. As down the outside he goes. Can he keep it in? Yes. Oh, no. Big snap of oversteer there for Surtees. Puts him back behind ARX Biscuit. That was looking to be one hell of a move there. What a shame. But he'll have to stick with him. I think he might have better pace than Biscuit here. Let's see if we can get past him soon. As behind, we've got Daz the Man pitting. It looks like he had collision with someone. I saw a time penalty flash up as one of the Williams, I think that is, or one of the Red Bulls has a moment somewhere. Looks like it's up into Aqua Minerale there. Another one of the Red Bulls coming undone there. Or into Villeneuve, sorry, I should say. All the Red Bulls not having a great race today. FICO has the pace to fight at the top. Isti given a 3-second time penalty. Oh no, this really unravels his race now. Looking so good for challenging for the lead, and now it's been undone with a 3-second time penalty for Isti in the McLaren. As Surtees comes back round past ARX Biscuit. No side-by-side action into turn 1, but this is surely a nightmare for Isti in the McLaren. As the Ferrari of J05GR gets past Sherlock into turn 1. Very nice move from him there. Lots of moves happening all up and down the grid. HGL Big Liam just getting past Quack there. Into T1, it seems. Moves happening up and down the grid as Jabba the Black pits. I'm assuming that might be a pit for real this time as we're on lap 8. Might have been for damage, but it's hard to tell here. He's on the hard tyres. He might not be able to make it to the end, so I'm assuming it'll be for damage. As one of the McLarens, Isti has a moment. Isti's out. Not out of the Grand Prix, but out of contention at least. Isti is well out of contention now. Looking so good to challenge for the lead here. And what a shame. What a terrible way for things to check out. He can still try. He might make an impression, but you've got to say, with how fast the guys up front are, with how fast he's been keeping pace with them, but catching from this far back might be a bit difficult. Has he got a bit of damage? As Big Vic, yes, he's got damage, I assume. He's pitting in now. To watch Groffel go past him as he dives into the pit lane. Is it damage for Isti? I want to double check. Yes, it's a front wing change for Isti. Front wing change for J05 as well. Up front, there's a 1.6 second gap to Goshan. So Goshan's making his lead more and more definitive now that Isti is out of the running for the lead here. Sherlock in P4 can't quite make any ground on the top 3. But it won't be for lack of trying. He's giving it his all here. Fighting off. Pookie puts in the best lap of the race so far. Down in P16. 1:17.8. So Pookie hasn't lost any pace. We just didn't see him in qualifying, which is a real surprise. As a Lord is given a 3-second time penalty. The penalties could be the decisive factor in this race here. The 2.3 gap opens up from Surtees to Goshan now. It's looking good for Goshan. It's looking quite comfortable now. Behind Surtees, Biscuit's making some ground, but he can't quite get close enough to have a sniff of a move to bring it up into P2. I mean, the real test will be the penalties as Sherlock comes into the pits. So one of the higher runners coming into the pits now. It's not for damage. It's a real pit stop to come into the hard tyres. So he's aiming to go to the end on these tyres, you would assume. But this... Perhaps he could make an impression on the front runners with an undercut here. Let's see how Surtees, Goshan and Biscuit respond now, because they might not be too concerned with this. Biscuit's still 7/10 back from Surtees. No, oh, and Biscuit! Oh no, the moment I cut back to him, 3-second time penalties. You see him going just a little wide there on the exit of, that would be of Piratella. What a shame for Biscuit. He's been having such a good race. Comfortable in P3. Oh, what a shame. It could still be on for a podium finish, depending on how the gaps behind look. It was consistently about a 7-second gap behind to Sherlock, as Plul puts in the best lap of the race so far. None of the front runners pitting just yet, but they must be thinking about it soon. Unless they're going for the 2-stopper or trying to draw out the 1-stopper a little bit longer. You can see a mix of strategies up and down the grid, as Big Six is given a 3-second time penalty. But down the grid, there's no real tight battles happening here. We've got Sherlock 7/10 behind G05GR. Which is a very catchy name, by the way. Thank you for that. But other than that, ARX Biscuit and Surtees are the closest battle on track at the moment. Not to mention that is for a podium position. So, as says, Plul is given a 3-second time penalty, just gets the fastest lap, and then slapped with a penalty by the FIA. As Big Six comes into the pits now. When will one of the front runners pull the trigger, and will the others respond? When will they do it? Pookie up into 14th place here. He's having a good race, Pookie. Up into the medium tyre, so he probably will be stopping again. But to get up into 14th place already is pretty good, considering he started P20. As we watch the drivers come round. Anyone diving into the pits? Goshan, no. Surtees, yes! Surtees dives into the pits. The first front runner to pull the trigger and make that pit stop. ARX Biscuit continues on. Surely this has got Goshan sweating just a little bit as he comes up to lap the Haas. This must have Goshan thinking, when is it time? Surely this lap he'll be coming in, as Sherlock is given a 3-second time penalty. Big Vic and Surtees. Surtees coming into the pits here. Let's see. He's on the hard compounded tyre. Where will he come out? Behind Quack in P6, perhaps. Yep, behind Quack in P6, but ahead of Z0T. He's just given a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Surely this has got to be it for Goshan. Surely he's got to be thinking, I've got to pit soon, because the undercut could be decisive in Isti taking back the lead, but he's still got that 3-second time penalty there. ARX Biscuit, oh, so not Isti, sorry, Surtees. Surely it might be decisive in Surtees taking the lead from the undercut. These tyres, these soft compound tyres, don't last long. So this could be time for Goshan to think about diving in and getting a fresh set of rubber. Comes through Rivatsa. Is he going to do it? Is he going to make the... No, not yet. Right, ARX Biscuit, will he dive into the pit lane yet? No, not yet. The two front runners continue on. This must be giving Surtees plenty of ground. He's got lots of clean air at the minute. 3 seconds of clean air to make an impression on the guys ahead. Jabba the Black being given a 3-second time penalty. Surely HGL Surtees is thinking, this undercut could work. This could be my ticket into the lead again. Of course, with ARX Biscuit with the time penalty, he can't be too concerned about P2. As Surtees goes past Big Vic, he's just come into the pit lane. Still 2.5 seconds of clean air for Surtees here. As Goshan comes round into Aqua Minerale. This is an interesting strategy from Goshan. He will have better tyres at the end, but he's surely punishing these soft compound tyres now as he clatters over the curb at Variante Alta. You see Groffle and Quack up at the front now on their medium tyres. But of course they'll have to pit again soon. Well, maybe not soon, they'll have to draw it out a little bit longer, but they'll have to pit again relatively soon. That might send them tumbling down the order, but going on the medium tyres might have been a good strategy. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 3, a DNF for HGL Plul, It's all come undone for the Red Bull driver. Look at us down the pit straight as Arex Biscuit comes into the pits. HGL Goshan continues on. This is a very brave strategy from Goshan here. So the undercut should come into effect unless his pace is good on the used tyres, which is looking quite good. But can Biscuit come out ahead of Surty? That's the real question here. There's Surty. No, he can't. Surty gets a jump on ARX Biscuit in the pit lane. Now this must have Goshan sweating just a little bit. I'm sure of it. The undercut seems quite powerful. The gap now 2.5 seconds. Of course, Biscuit's on mediums here. A jab of the black DNFs as well. Full course safety car. Oh, and this hands a pit stop to HGL Goshan. Really, he must have been counting on it. I would have been thinking he'd be sweating. He'd be very nervous, I would have thought. But Jabba the Black's DNF has just handed him a free pit stop, which will keep him in the net lead. So this is... Oh, and a drive-through penalty for Z0T. Torrid day for the AlphaTauri driver. He's had penalty after penalty and a disconnect and everything. As Goshan, yep, he does come into the pit lane, so... And there's another drive-through for... Or it might be the same drive-through for Z0T. Z0T, not a great day for him. As HGL Goshan makes his free pit stop, he'd be stupid not to. He should come out ahead of Groffel, I'm assuming. Yes, he should come out ahead of Groffel quite comfortably here. So, just to run you through the pecking order, Groffel hasn't pitted. Oh, he has pitted, sorry. Groffel has pitted to get rid of those old mediums. This will come into play for him as well. Hard compound tyres, you've got to assume to the end, and Z0T is disqualified from the session. I mean, the amount of penalties that were coming his way, you got to say it was surely coming. As Groffel comes down the pit lane, he might make up a few places here, pitting on the safety car. P7, yeah, we're coming out P7 on the safety car with fresh hard compound tyres. 4 lap old mediums ahead of him, 4 lap old hards ahead of him, 5 lap old mediums ahead of him. So if he's going to the end, and Shankster has been disqualified as well. What is going on here at Imola today? My God, this is all sorts of crazy. We've lost 5 runners in Klasnik, Shanksters, Z0T, catchy name, my friend, Plurl, and Jabba the Black. We've lost 4 runners, sorry, I should say. Well, that is 5. I can count. We've lost 5 runners today as the safety car leads them through. So you've got to say, the favourite has to be Goshan. He's had electric pace all through this race, but Surty is right on his gearbox here. And those hard compound tyres will probably go to the end, but those mediums will struggle, I would assume. So this could go either way between Surty and Goshan. ARX Biscuit there as well, but the time penalty could undo it for him. We'll have to wait and see what happens here. Because if those medium tyres are going to the end, Goshan might struggle with the tyre wear, though he did stretch those softs out 13 laps, which is quite a lot longer than the rest of the grid. So HGL Surty leads, HGL Surty just behind, leading Goshan. I'm absolutely gripped. I have to say, I'm absolutely on the edge of my seat. I don't know what's going to happen. Goshan might have made a little mess up with the strategy here. Surty, I mean, with the hard compound tyres, will suffer at first, but when you get to the end, he'll surely have better tyres. He might be able to attack if he can keep with him in this first stage. So, of course, Goshan is the obvious favourite here, having led a lot of this race, but you know, you can't discount Surty. You just can't discount him. I mean, ARX Biscuit as well. There's not much he can do with that time penalty there, but you know, he can have a damn good go. Have to wait and see. Safety car comes through one more time. Should be in this lap or the next, I would guess. I haven't been counting. See how Goshan handles the safety car restart. So, dramatic scenes here at Imola. We've lost 5 of our runners so far under safety car. CRS FICO making up some ground from his awful first lap coming together. Sent him tumbling down the grid to dead last. Pookie making up some places too. In a race of high attrition, even if you just keep your nose clean, you're doing a good job. The safety car is in this lap, so Goshan will lead them away to green. Backing up the pack a little bit. There's already quite the gap to Surtee. Closes it up a little bit, warming up the tyres. Want to have all the grip in the world there. Surtee sticks with him. When's he going to stamp the throttle? And it looks like he's away now. He's away now. Surtee sticks with him, though. He hasn't dropped Surtee. In fact, Surtee might get the run on him here. ARX Biscuit has a run on Surtee as well, perhaps. And the slipstream's doing wonders for Surtee here, as he has a look around the outside, but just dips out of it. Thinking about it here, though. The drivers are all backed up now. Now, Surtee would think would be slower, but he's making real headways here. You would have thought he'd be slower on the 4-lap-old hards to the brand new mediums. But he must have got them up to temperature just as good as Goshan, as he's lost a bit of time through there. You know, mechanical grip really important through the long sweeping corners. To come through Piratella up towards Aqua Minerale. Yes, Goshan has dropped him just a little bit, but really not by much. A little squirm on the rear for Surtee there. Might give Biscuit a chance. HL Goshan's left the session. What? Oh my god, what on earth is happening? As Goshan tumbles down the order, HL Surtee up into first place. What on earth happened there? Network issues, hardware issues, anything, but it seemed like a comfortable lead for Goshan. And it's just gone. Disconnected. Heartbreak for Goshan. I mean, celebrations for Surtee, you must say. I mean, he's up into P1 on tyres that should take him to the end. ARX Biscuit behind has the pace, but you must say he's probably going to stop again. And he's got that time penalty holding him back. But this is Biscuit's time to make real headways. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 1 and 2. What's happened further down the field? Got a moment there for Pookie. Oh, what a shame. Our champion just having a moment there. Surtee holds onto the lead up front. This is gripping stuff here. Goshan tumbling further down the order now. He's almost dead last, just ahead of Pookie. Terrible luck for the McLaren driver. Yellow flag in Sector 2 as Big Liam has a spin there. Goshan up into 13th, but still, that would be dead last without the 2 moments we just had from Pookie and Liam. As, a move here perhaps for ARX Biscuit. Can't keep his foot in around the outside, but that should give him a bit of a sniff. Virtual safety car now. Virtual safety car for an incident further down the track. It seems to have been cleared already. So, and into the pit lane comes a Lord in the Alfa Romeo. Interesting strategy to come in now. Virtual safety car won't be out for long, so that might be the wrong way to go there. Looks like, yeah, the incident has been cleared. So the virtual safety car shouldn't be out for too much longer. DRS is now enabled. Virtual safety car is in. And it's back to business as usual for Surtee and ARX Biscuit. No move into Villeneuve. You can tell Biscuit is absolutely chomping at the bit to get past him. It's J05 seems to have joined the party here up front, as Isti at the back as well, making some real headway side by side with Big Six, makes the move stick. ARX Biscuit and Surtee still together, nothing separating these two. 2/10 the gap into Aqua Minerale now. Not a place to make an overtake, just want to get through all right, don't have a spin. We've had a few incidents there already. But can Surtee keep his head under pressure? That will be the real test here. Can he keep it together as FICO moves up into 5th? Now that's impressive from the man who looked like he had a chance of leading. Went to dead last on lap 1, up into 5th now. Now you must say, surely with DRS, Biscuit will make an easy move of this. The DRS flicks open now down the back straight. You must say this is a bit of an easy move. He's a sitting duck there, Surtees. No DRS for him. Lets him by almost, and it's done before we even reach the corner. He has to concede, but can he stick with him? Stick with him through this lap, and he might get a second bite of the cherry. The yellow flag in Sector 1. That looks like it's one of the Mercedes. It's Sherlock tumbling down the orders. Goshan's overtaken by Pookie. So we have the leader and the previous champion now fighting it out. As Pookie makes up 2 places in 1, and Goshan joins again. Thankfully, the poor leader of this race had it all come undone, all come unraveled. As Biscuit makes use of those medium tyres and grows the gap to over a second now to Surtees. So Surtees won't have DRS this lap unless he has a stonking few corners, which, you know, with the hard tyres, you got to say is pretty unlikely. But he will come good at the end of this race. It's always important to remember that. Daz the man given a 3-second time penalty there. So come in round Rivatsa now to start the 21st lap. ARX Biscuit leads from HGL 13, J05GR. Catchy name, my friend. ARX Biscuit with the new fastest lap, 1:16.6 on the medium compound of tyre. 6 laps the age. You've got to say, those might not be holding on till the end of the race. They've got a big old scrap here in the midfield from Big Vic, Daz the Man. And, oh, Big Six, oh, a bit of a shove there from Daz the Man. You know, it kept it together, but, you know, just letting him know he's there, I suppose. As FICO's a 10th behind J0, sorry. Oh, a big snap there on exit. Should be easy work for FICO. He's just about alongside. But his pace this race has been really good. Ooh, side by side there. Who's going to be brave into Aqua Minerale? Oh, CRS FICO just gets it in. Manages to get it stopped at the corner where his race came undone on lap 1. Pookie given a 3-second time penalty there. ARX Biscuit still out in front there. 3-second time penalty for him. As FICO seems to hunt down the leaders now. 5-lap-old mediums, he might go to the end. I can't see it. HGL Big Liam there being given a 3-second time penalty, but he might go to the end there. It'd be a hell of a struggle, but, you know, you've got to say, FICO's probably had the best race of anyone on the grid today. Of course, he had the worst first lap of anyone on the grid today, but that recovery has been monumentous, as he's managed to hold off DRS from J0 and Isti up into 4th place with that time penalty, though. And 2 guys with some of the best pace we saw in quali chasing each other down for P3 and 4, the final podium position here. 2 men who had their races come completely undone as Goshan leaves the session again. A day to forget for HGL Goshan. Man who was leading for so long at the beginning of this race. It's just not come good. Network issues, whatever it might be. It's not been great. But FICO here has been having a storming drive up the grid. He's closing the gap to HGL 30. Closing him in, reeling him in, down to less than a second now. 30 might be under pressure here. I had him picked as the favourite for the race come the end of it. But it's not looking like it might transpire that way. If, of course, they can hold on. There's a bit of a incident at the back. It looks like it was a Lord in the Alfa Romeo. Again, at Aqua Minerale. It's where all the drivers seem to be coming undone today. So you watch now. FICO, Isti, nothing between the 2. Isti looks like he's going for a move here. Can he make it stick? Round the outside into T1. Oh, a bit of wheel banging, I think. But he just about makes it there. Keeps it clean. But can FICO come back at him into Villeneuve chicane? No, he thinks better of it, doesn't dive down the inside, but that was a hell of a move there from Isti. Bit of wheel banging maybe, kept it respectful, didn't barge him off track. What a move, what a battle, what a scrap, what a race. 5 tenths the gap to FICO now. As we go back down the order a little bit, let's have a look at Big Liam. 7 tenths gap to the guy ahead of him, Pookie. They both have time penalties here. They both seem to have pretty good pace to one another. I think Pookie has had flashes of brilliance throughout this race, but hasn't been able to keep it together as much as the guys up front. I mean, he put in a few of the fastest laps earlier in the race. You see here, Big Six here might go for a move on the Alpha Tauri. FICO's 5/10 behind Isti up front. Keeping an eye on that gap, just making sure they don't make the move without me seeing it. Big Six and Daz just scrapping away. Someone got a tyre onto the gravel, it sounded like there. Bit wide on exit for both of them there. Huts, Big Vic and Big Six. There's into the pit lane comes Daz the man. It might be for damage, it might be for tyre wear. Seems a bit early to get rid of those mediums, you might say. So it might be for damage, I would guess. We're going to have a quick look. Looks like it was intermediate tyres. Fascinating strategy choice there from Daz the man. We'll go back up front. CRS FICO, is just behind Isti, who's just behind Surti. He really has closed the gap up now. 4/10 the gap to P2 and net P1. Because remember, ARX Biscuit has that time penalty. So if Isti can get back here, he's into the net race lead. Well, whether those tyres can hold on to the end of the race is another story, but it's looking good for Isti, it's looking good for FICO. It might not be looking too good for Surti at this point in the race. You need to hope that those tyres come good in the closing stages of this race. For his sake, anyways. As surely this will be a move from Isti. Got the DRS. Moves to the outside. Not going to make it easy for him. And the move's done before we even reach the corner. FICO might have a look as well. FICO has a look. He moves up past Surti. So Surti loses 2 places in 1 corner. What a move from CRS FICO. Keeps it respectful. Hard but fair. We'll have to see if those hard tyres can come good at the end of the race. Because Surti has had a really great performance today. I would like to see it go noticed and, be rewarded. But the guys up front, Isti and FICO, have made real headway this race. They've had really good pace all through it since their incidents. As you watch Quack here, 6/10 behind Big Liam. Now, you got to say, Quack and Big Liam, not much between them. Big Liam's tyre's slightly older, so they could be turning off the dying stages of this race. But for now, they're probably evenly matched. We've got Sherlock Sooner retired at Aqua Minerale. Another one bites the dust into Aqua Minerale as he leaves the session. I can't blame him. Not a way to end a race. Will this be a safety car, though? The car is parked in a pretty awkward position. No. No safety car. No one pitted, so no silly strategy mistakes there. A heartbreak for Sherlock as we've lost another driver from this race. That's the man on the intermediate tyres. Obviously not making any headway. Bizarre strategy choice, you've got to say. Doesn't look like it's going to rain. But, who knows? If it does, we'll all look like fools. There's a big, tight fight up here for Big Six, Huts, Big Vic, Big Liam. It's the battle of the bigs in the midfield here. Big Liam, Big Vic, and Big Six here. Fighting for P7. Pookie, fighting for P6, sorry. Pookie up in P6, under pressure from Big Six, Big Vic, and Big Liam. So Pookie's got a whole gaggle of bigs behind him now. Pookie's got pretty good pace. He's had pretty good pace. Maybe not what we would expect from Pookie, but it's not been terrible from Pookie. For someone who didn't set a time in qualifying, as a bit of a mistake must have been for Big Six. He's just dropped a lot of time to Pookie up ahead. Unless that was Pookie proving me wrong for saying it's not the pace we expect. I'm very sorry if it is. As ARX Biscuit loses the lead now to Isti. Isti goes through. Oh, and a big mistake for Isti. Off the track into the gravel trap. Loses P1, P2, P3, down into P4 for Isti. He was looking so good to challenge for the race lead. It leaves FICO up ahead to finish what he started. 3/10 the gap. Big mistake for Isti up ahead. You've got to say, that was just bad luck. Little deep into the corner. Tried to make an audacious move there, it looked like. I'm not sure if there was contact. Didn't look like it. But that is just a big shame. Big shame. As we see, Surti, FICO and ARX Biscuit out in front. I can't see the gap between Surti and Isti, but it isn't much, as you can see there. Probably about a second, you might say. Maybe if 6/10, 7/10. It's not far. We want to go back to the Battle of the Bigs here. Got Big Liam and Big Six all battling here for P7. It looks like Big Six has dropped them ever so slightly, but Big Liam is right on the gearbox of Big Vic. Yes, the gap just over a second to Surti from Isti. Now his tyres might be going off a little bit as Biscuit loses the lead to FICO. It's only a matter of time. It was only a matter of time for Biscuit to lose the lead there. FICO has had electric pace ever since his incident. Can't make any headways into Villeneuve. FICO's tyres only a lap old. This is only a lap older than Biscuit's, so this is pure pace. FICO has fought tooth and nail this race, but can those tyres hold on for the remaining 4 laps of this race? Can Surti capitalise on his hard compound tyres? It doesn't look like he can. He'll come off with a podium, it seems, if Isti doesn't catch up to him and his tyres start to go off. But Surti's in a good position here. Goshan with the fastest lap, but unfortunately, it's not going to count for anything. He's too far back at the moment. What a shame for Goshan. He had this race seemingly under complete control, as in the background we see Isti making real ground on Surti here. 2/10 the gap, 3/10 the gap. As they come round Rivatsa to start the 29th lap. Here we go. DRS wide open. This should be a fairly standard, fairly easy move. Will he make it difficult for him? Oh, he has to go to the outside here. And around the outside, the move's done before the corner. Up into podium paying positions once again. Isti, the man who looked like he had the pace to challenge for the lead, back up towards the front. Can he make any headways though? It's looking like he has a chance. If Biscuit and FICO start fighting up ahead, there's every chance that Isti could capitalise on this and take a win. But you got to say, driver of the day to FICO, surely. He's fought back from that absolutely horrid first lap for him. He's fought back to P1, net P1 on the road, fair and square. Surti can stick on the podium. He could even get P2 if he sticks with Isti and Biscuit up ahead. But this is looking like a good day to be CRS FICO here. He's increased the gap to 1 second. It's not looking like Biscuit's going to be able to catch him, as Big Liam is given a 3-second time penalty. Battle of the Bigs is coming undone, slowly but surely. Big Six with a time penalty, Big Vic, nothing, Big Liam, a time penalty. So you got to say, Big Vic is probably the favourite of the Big Sixes, of the big Battle of the Bigs, as he's not got the penalty, so he's not got to worry too much. Look up out front, the gaps have grown a bit, but if Surti sticks with Biscuit and Isti, he's in with a shot for P2. Not a bad result considering his bad luck this race. As Quack comes into the pit lane, is that for damage, I'm assuming? Big Liam, 3/10 the gap. Battle of the Bigs. 3/10, 3/10, 4/10. But this does seem to be a bit of an anticlimax for the Battle of the Bigs. As Quack comes out the pit lane now in P11, outside the points. But oh, big slide there for Big Liam. Clues in the name, but still. Manages to keep it together just about, as Quack is on the intermediate tyre. Could there be rain coming in the final stages of this race? If we have a look on board, are there any droplets on the camera? It looks like, oh, it is definitely raining. I'm sorry, I completely missed that. As the rain comes down, it's looking tricky out there for the drivers. So, Daz the man, I'm sorry for everything I've said about you, but you could have been ahead of the curve here. But it looks like it shouldn't get too heavy. Only a couple laps left to go. They should be able to hold on to the slick tyres. No standing water on track at the moment. You can't see any spray from the drivers. It's not looking like the rain should come into effect, and it probably won't come into Quack's hand. As Battle of the Bigs come back in, Big Vic has got past Big Six on the road. Doesn't really matter. He was past him anyways because of the time penalty. But now he can chase down Pookie and see if he can make inroads on them. So the rain is really coming down now. I couldn't see it before, but now I definitely can. Just want to make sure there's no mistakes here. Isty's right on the back of ARX Biscuit. I mean, he's up. Oh, Isty's right up ARX Biscuit here. If he can get past him, that might be P3. But it's looking like Surtee will take P2 with the time penalties applied. As Surtee, oh, just as I say that, Surtee's been given a 3-second time penalty, and away goes his chance of P2. We have a look at the penalties. Yep, that's no P2 for him, I'm afraid. He's going to have to do it on track, which I don't think he's going to. The gap is a little too much here. We see Isty going for a move on the ARX Biscuit on track. Sector 3, yellow flag. So we have an off for the Alpha Tauri. Isty gets through. Signed, sealed, and delivered. He's licked the stamp, and he bloody well sent it. FICO, comfortable lead out in front on the final lap of this race. You've got to say, he's looked untouchable since he got into the lead. Battle of the Bigs is still going on. Big Liam, Big Vic, and Big Six battling it out. Sector 3, we've got a yellow flag. Looks like it was a moment for Groffle. As Dazaman comes into pit for, well, his race has been over since before it began. But he had damage on the front wing. FICO has to nurse his car through this last sector. Just see it home. And he will surely be the winner of this race. In the background, Biscuit and Isty, the battle seems to have fizzled out now. Surtee, heartbreak with that track limit violation. Was looking good to be on P2. Sector 2, we've got a yellow flag. Looks like Big Liam might have had a moment with Big Vic. So Battle of the Bigs really has fizzled out now. It's looking like FICO will be taking the lead as he comes through to take the checkered flag. And FICO is the winner with a sterling drive back to the front. Isty comes home P2. Another great recovery. ARX Biscuit makes the most of it. Comes home in P3, and Surtee, heartbreak. P2 looked like it was on the cards there. Just came undone at the end there. Big shame for the Aston Martin driver. Pookie up into P6 from P20 on the grid. We've had a whole host of stunning recovery drives today. And in the back, we've lost Sherlock, Jabba the Black, Plul, Z0T, Shankstar, and Klasnik. So 14 runners will be taking the checkered flag in what has been a truly dramatic Grand Prix at Imola for Huts Gaming F1 2021 League. And HGL Quack will be the final driver to round Ravazza. Not Ravazza, sorry. It might be Ravazza. I forgot my corner names. My phone turned off a little while ago. As he rounds the final corner, takes a checkered flag, but FICO is the man of the hour here. P1 after a horrible first lap that saw him tumble down the order after contact. And Pookie gets driver of the day, P20 to P6. Sterling drive from the Alpine driver, but the Red Bull driver is the one coming away with the glory. There he comes onto the podium. Yep. What does he see? He sees P1. He sees a trophy in his hand. What a race. What a race for the Huts Gaming League today. FICO takes the win. Heartbreak for Surtee, you've got to say. But jubilations for these three. Made the most of a tricky race of attrition. Come home and round out the podium. So, running through the results. The winner, of course, CRS FICO. Isty in the McLaren in second. The ARX Biscuit, the Ferrari in third. The Aston Martin of Surtee in fourth. Ferrari of J05GR. Good day for the Ferrari boys. Pookie in sixth. Big Six in seventh. Winning out in the Battle of the Bigs, it seems. Surprising since he had the time penalty, but Big Vic must have had a moment. He did have a moment with Big Liam towards the dying stages of the race. Our Lord in the Alfa Romeo taking the last points paying position. And Goshan, horrible day. Fastest lap of the Grand Prix, but it won't count for anything for him. And what a race. What a race. At Imola for the Huts Gaming League. That should do it for today, I'm afraid, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that was as intense for you as it was for me. A real difficult race for the drivers here. FICO comes out on top. What a race from the Red Bull driver. I've been your host and commentator, Oscar. Thank you very much for watching the Huts Gaming F1 2021 League. Catch us next time. Goodbye.